Quiet on set! Lock it up. Sound. Camera. Action.
Capstone Pictures is the name of our 414B class in media and culture. And Capstone Pictures is the name of our production company that produces the films.
It's mostly seniors, but a couple juniors are in it. You have to interview to be a part of making this film a semester-long project, and each class member has their own role in it. So, we've got a gaffer, director, producer, wardrobe. Every part of a production, someone has to take on that job, and some people have multiple roles depending if they have a pre-production role and a post-production role, for example. Some people have the same job throughout the whole production, just depends what their role is. And it's a good way to gain real-world experience in the film world. Whether you do want to work in film or not, I think it's a great way to learn how to work with others and take a project from very beginning to completion.
We are in charge of budgets, location,
and oversee the entire production.
Yeah, we were kind of in charge of everyone, I would say. In a way, we were trying to make sure everyone was on task all the time, and that we were getting things done in a timely manner, and we're able to shoot the production on time.
Well, during the production and before the production, I helped arrange so many different meals for every day, with different places. Tried to coordinate and get donations if we could, or discounts. I got to pick up the food every day. Picked up Starbucks coffee bright and early every morning, so everyone was caffeinated.
So what inspired me to write this script was my personal experience with depression and suicide. It was like second or third time the same kind of cycle was happening again, and it just felt like I should be better at this by now, but it feels just as strong each time. So I just love this image of someone jumping off a building and realizing they're fine, and the first thing they do is try again. I think that image works for struggle of mental illness and how illogical but emotionally real that struggle is, even if it wouldn't make sense to say people looking onward at the thing. So it all kind of started from that image, and then everything else kind of came from what's the most responsible way to handle this script? I guess this idea. So it became about how this would affect people who aren't in his situation, almost working like a metaphor or allegory for people who don't have the same resources or ability to get help, and how their struggles.
This story is really important and relevant for our world today because it's about mental health, the film as a whole, certainly. And I think a lot of people feel like they can't talk about it, or it's difficult to talk about. And at least I hope that this film can be a conversation starter to anyone involved in that. And hopefully beyond that, they can connect with it to know that they're not alone. Their actions do matter, even if they feel like nobody's looking at them or nobody cares. And just that everyone does matter in this world and has a purpose.
So the script supervisor, once the script is written, the script supervisors sit down and go through and mark up the script, and that means we have a different color for props, characters who are speaking, extras, wardrobe, makeup. We have different colors for all of those things, and we have to go through the entire script and highlight where those are so we can do paperwork later and figure out what we need for each scene. And that's also helpful for stunts and sound effects and stuff like that. And then during production, we sit at the monitor with the director and we write down what take we're doing, what shot we're doing, and what the actors are doing in the shot. And we do that for every single take and every single scene.
It was fun, but it's surprisingly a lot of You had to like look at the script and at the screen at the same time, which is like physically impossible.
That's fun though.
But you had to do it.
Yeah.
We held 2 different casting calls, one here on Miami University's campus, and then we also held one in OTR, which is over the Rhine, like near the downtown Cincinnati area, and they were both pretty successful, and that's where most of our actors came from. It was just kind of getting people to show up and take it seriously, I guess. But once, like I said, once we had reached out to like SOFA and creating like Facebook events, that's when we started to get more people to come out that would take it more seriously.
In the pre-production process, we had to design what each of the characters were going to wear in each of the scenes, which was a lot of outfits. And then we also had to design what the makeup was going to look like for each of the scenes. And all together we counted, and it was about like 76 different outfits, which was crazy.
That's a lot for a student film.
Yeah. For makeup, we had to basically mimic bruises and scarring and kind of self-harm marks on people, which was difficult. I've never done that before.
Makeup was surprisingly hard at first, but then we got better at it.
Yeah.
For me, it was basically you're kind of in charge of making sure everything runs smoothly. You're responsible for making the day and making sure that we get everything that we need to get done. And I also talk a lot and yell a lot at people, which is really fun.
It's true. My responsibilities include helping Jordan with anything she needed, whether that was bringing actors to set, helping quiet people down when we were going to start shooting, or anything that needed last minute fixing. We were kind of in charge of that. And then I also made all the call sheets each day.
It's a big task.
The director of photography is the person who is essentially in charge of the visual look of the movie. So all of the camera choices and a good number of the lighting choices all come down to the director of photography. The work of the DP is very closely integrated with the director's choices to make blocking, acting choices. And so Leah and I collaborated pretty extensively over the course of the movie, trying to make everybody happy.
It wasn't crazy difficult. I think the biggest thing was just like being accountable for Gabby, because she was like under so much pressure and like doing so many things. So I feel like just constantly being able to just like, if she needs anything, just go get it for us. So make the whole thing like as non-stressful as possible.
Yeah.
Was kind of like the biggest thing for her.
Yeah, I agree with him. And for me, I guess just like communicating, especially when things like are changed last second. And just making sure, like, because there are multiple people who have to document like lens and like everything like that. So just making sure everybody was on the same page, and that way things don't get confusing in editing and stuff like that. But
my roles on set, I was making sure the camera was set up and in the right place, and all the settings were right. If Gabby needed anything, I would get it for her. I carried a fanny pack most of the time filled with lenses, and I had tape on me. I was kind of like a multi-tool, I guess you could say. I just did it all. But yeah, no, I was just kind of in charge of the camera and making sure it was working correctly and running, and yeah.
And I was a clapper, so I got to start off every scene and come up with different themes for the day. And yeah, I wrote the camera reports, just kind of had to talk with Gabby about like what lens she was using and stuff like that.
I think the audio mixing is pretty cool during production, because production's pretty busy, everyone's moving around and stuff, and sometimes you can barely hear yourself and stuff, but I have headphones and I can hear everything pretty clearly, and it's just kind of calming to hear it work well while everyone's bustling around to make sure it's working, I can kind of hear proof of that in the headphones.
So as gaffer, I just decided which lights we'd be using, where to situate them, what sorts of moods we were trying to express with the lighting in said particular scene. As production designer, I designed the look of the scenes, I mocked up some of the sets, and then turned it over to my set designer.
Art director.
Art director.
So I was the art director, and we worked together a lot on like what the set would look like and the building of it and set dressing it, so I kind of made it come to life, I guess you could say. Yes, I did that. I made the sets come to life.
The best boy is primarily responsible for just unloading the truck in the morning and reloading the truck after we're all finished shooting. So, I would say the most challenging was just being responsible for so much expensive stuff. So just everything was just so expensive. So if something broke, it would be my fault. So just trying to be careful when like carrying stuff back and forth and all of that was kind of hard.
It's tedious, it's long. The other day, Matt got here, worked from like 5 to around 10. Then I got here and worked from 10 to around 5. So it's like around the clock.
And literally all we were doing was just matching audio and video. We weren't even getting to do any of the fun stuff like, you know, making explosions and changing colors and all the fun parts of editing that come later on.
The VFX that we're going to be using for this film aren't super complicated, but they're going to take a long time.
Don't downplay it, dude. I mean, we hanged a man and stuff. We had a lot of green screen. I mean, we had a lot of things that were out of our league.
A lot of practical stuff though, like falling on a car windshield. And I'm kind of excited to start working on that stuff. I've used After Effects before to do some VFX, but this is more advanced techniques that we'll be doing.
I think the documentary for our film production is just like record everything that should be happen in the production for everyone, and also how do we film the production.
Yeah, it feels like a job that you can learn everything. Like you talk with the sound person, camera department, and the director, and you really know what's going on inside. So good.
In this capstone class, students get an opportunity to work with the same equipment that professionals use in Hollywood. We have a grip truck, a dolly, lighting gear, microphones, so they use all of those things and learn the proper techniques to use them, proper etiquette on the set, and use the same workflow that is used to do a major motion picture.
Well, so the most difficult and fun part of this process is always that it's impossible to plan for everything. As much as you can try, there are always impulsive changes that happen at the last minute. There's something that you realize works a little bit better, and so part of the strengths of being in production is being able to make those changes, roll with the punches, and understand that ultimately every change is for the better.
I feel like working with this big crew is a amazing thing. Everyone doing their job is fantastic, and we kind of like not just classmates but also like a big family.
Getting to know everyone and like bonding for a solid 6 days was super fun.
Making movies is hard, but really, really fun.